Hey guys, good morning.
Hi, Lawrence. I'm going to put you on the large screen. I just had to log in first. Good morning. Do you hear me, Lawrence?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Would you tell the group that I'm here because I'm driving and I don't want to be manipulating the phone, but I can hear you guys.
They can hear you.
Okay. Varela is present for the meeting. Thank you. I'm driving.
Good morning. Good morning. That's perfect.
Now, first we have a retreat schedule, 10 to 2, and then there's into a board meeting from 10 to 12, then the notes of how 10 to 9.
Well,
I'm right for you to have that board.
And for the financial report, I have nothing to report and I did review the bars. I'm good with them.
for the finance committee. Yeah. And he just says he approves the bars.
He's got to call me to work. Are we ready to start?
Can we start? We have enough to start board?
So, you have the agenda and all our.
Yeah, Deli's printing them. I have the paper clip. Okay.
Menu. Yeah, no, I got you. Sylvia, what would you like to do if we brought something in? Okay, Mexican. Oh, are you okay? That's fine.
We have a place right here down the street.
Happens right here.
No, that happens, but
El País is right around.
I never eat it on Chinese, so I don't.
It's good. Let's do that. Wow. Some Mexican. Bring it in some taquitos.
We always.
Maybe they eat with their hands intentionally, so that they get the 5 elements. So in Ethiopia, so in Ethiopia, they have these little roll up. I could feel that sponge, right? And so the roll up means you have this huge flat. And take your little thing and rip it, and that you like push it like that. That's okay. It's like, when did you know? You were just thinking you were sheetrock and putting some texture. You were texturing it. It was like this stuff. It's very spongy and very sour. Yeah. Or you could actually use the spongy thing. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit of bread. And they fire that like a walk that's kind of flat. Yeah. And they like you and they make it that, you know, do this and they make the pieces of and I can't remember the name for it, but and it foams. What do they make it out of? It is a grain that's indigenous to the area. It's not wheat. And it does foam, doesn't it?
So they do that, then is it like dry?
Like a tortilla.
Oh.
Sour tortilla. You do it on pitches. You do it like that. Pitches. Yeah. They ferment it. Take some big. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, hello, Mark. I know.
Well, more drive for you.
One way in, one way out. And you were saying Ethiopia stuff.
So we're just talking about the way they make this foamy bread, and they bring this huge platter of food with different stuff on it. You like take some this, some that, but that's how you're picking up the food. It's all eat with your fingers. With this sponge thing. Yeah, you just mop it up with this. Yeah. Whether it's the vegetable or sauce, you don't need. Yeah.
civilized British.
Well, if you were out in the wilderness and you lost your utensils.
Right, so they're in the wilderness all the time, and they just don't use utensils.
Right.
Even when they're out in the wilderness.
Same thing. Wealthy Indian. So funny to see.
And sitting down on the floor with your knees.
Yep.
It's called injera.
Small thing.
It is, it's, I can't remember the name.
Are you doing better?
Brand. It's,
Oh, the stuff, that's the name of the.
no, injera is the name of the bread.
Yeah, the last one you were.
Cook's good with that, huh?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Flu, the avian flu is gonna be the next one. It just, of course. They got no flu yet, they got the vaccine. It just got approved. 500,000 doses just got approved for this onslaught of avian flu. It isn't even transmitted from humans to humans. But it might.
But it might.
So you better be prepared and take another shot.
Me like to.
Yeah. That would be helpful. Less side effects.
Don't even know the side of that.
True. Well, that's true.
Long as it's important.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, she's pretty low, but you can't be done another 6.
What do we want to add to our agenda?
She already had it.
I added it on the copy,
Oh,
on
okay.
the printed copy.
So just to be clear, we're going by that clock, right?
What is up with this?
It's her sense of
Let me
humor.
guess.
So we are, I love
You sit with your, you sit over here with your back to that, young lady.
I usually look at my watch. I know it's 15 minutes.
I know, I saw the 1 o'clock and I was like, woohoo.
What did you see? Did you see my response? I go, oh, great, 9 to 1. I love it.
No, not 9.
Then you got another text that said,
10 to
10
2.
to 2.
Thank you.
Because you sent that
Where are you
another
at?
10 to 2 and I'm.
Yeah. Well, that's what we agreed at the last.
Yeah,
meeting.
I had 10 to 2.
They must have given April a different time.
No, I remember after you said time. Actually, I remember the whole time.
Well, I thought so.
I did.
What? Oh,
No, I thought it was, we said 12, and we said 1, and we said 10:30 to 2, and then I thought we meant, we said.
You could go back to your minutes that you took from.
You know what, mister? It's not a very nice tone.
I want to thank you
Man,
for
everybody's
being
nice
here.
now.
I know.
Yeah, all right, well, so we get started. Thanks everyone for being here.
Oh, wait a minute, I need. Sorry.
So roll call, Sylvia, April, Monica,
Present.
Bob, Lawrence.
I'm here.
All right, you're up on the big board now. Okay, so we have a quorum and a full agenda, we're missing Carlos, and I guess officially we're missing Angel.
We are.
You didn't need additional use struck out.
We haven't received a letter of resignation.
Oh, he's going to resign.
Yes. I had a conversation with him.
And the thought was until things get better. Oh, he's well into it at this point. And we can talk about that in the training.
Yesterday, he really did this new job. but he-
They were no good, what's he doing? Okay, so we've got the agenda, everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda. Oh, you added the lease.
Sure.
Yeah, I just added it.
Okay. If I can get a motion to approve the agenda,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed, nay. Okay, meeting minutes. Okay.
Since we go over for that, today,
That's not,
right, but it says here. To be discussed at the next GC meeting.
correct, that's today. That's why it's on the
That's why we have
agenda
it on the
today.
agenda.
It is on the.
Yes,
Without.
I see.
without-
at 10:30.
Okay, I see it, okay.
So it's-
Sorry about that.
There's the last board meeting, I was at contact when I.
You know what's not listed on the agenda, and I can just put it next time, the disposal.
Do you have the list?
I sent the list out.
Okay, so
It's in the email.
In those 4 attachments.
I didn't get the email.
Oh, and I.
could we,
The other housekeeping?
so it would be an action item, it would need to be motion to add to the agenda.
Right here.
So I'd like to correct the housekeeping, training hours, conflict resolution from 10 to 12:30 for our training
Okay.
to 10 to 2.
So could we go back to the agenda?
Current agenda?
Yeah,
Yesterday.
and the disposal
Of
of
assets.
assets. So the motion and the second to do it,
A motion.
Oh, to change the minutes.
to change the agenda.
Agenda.
I want to have a comment about the agenda as well. I don't know.
And so we've got a motion to add.
Okay, I'll
disposal of
second.
assets.
I'll second.
Now vote.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, anyone opposed? Okay,
So April,
Yes, sir.
back where the approval of the agenda is.
in the minutes.
Not in the minutes, yes, in the minutes, where there was a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Before the vote to approve the agenda, there was a motion and a second to add this agenda item.
Motion to add.
Motion to add the disposal of assets. You move,
And you.
Bob, Mark seconded. All right, so still for the approval of the agenda,
I would like a few minutes to talk about this training in Denver.
all right, so that could happen during public comment,
Okay.
right, because it's not an action. Right, see what I mean?
You presented. That was my question.
So it could be there, but now we're actually. It's called.
So I
You could also
do more figures. Maybe, when I can change that.
Housekeeping.
Yes, the training.
Okay.
So it's under housekeeping, yeah. Then it's already, that is already there, so you have some housekeeping. Right, so
Sylvia, do you have something you want to add to this agenda?
not an action item, so you're in housekeeping, right?
Okay, so April?
Yeah.
We've approved the agenda with the disposal of
Yes.
assets act. Okay,
Who seconded it?
I did,
You did, okay. Okay.
okay.
So we're good with that, Howard.
And you saw the edit on the minutes from last week?
Yeah.
The time for the
Yep.
training.
Yep.
Maybe.
Okay, are there any other edits or comments on the minutes from our last meeting? Okay, if not, then if I could get a motion to approve the minutes,
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
okay?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say nay. So approve the minutes.
Did someone say nay just for fun?
I may abstain, I wasn't here.
Wait, still,
Okay, I guess, I'm not wrong.
So you shouldn't make the motion as a second.
uh,
You know what I mean? You vote, yeah.
Yes.
okay, so we're at public comment. And Bob wanted to share some of the fire that he's received from being up in Denver for 10 days,
Hey,
2 weeks.
More or
A
less.
lifetime, a lifetime.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, probably
Sure.
July.
So, so there were people from, it was me and some others, Robert and some others.
What was this?
It was a training on community organizing presented by the Industrial Area Foundation.
which is the parent organization for Alphabet.
And Albuquerque Interfaith is the local member, and I attended as not just a board member, but also a member of Albuquerque Interfaith, which has tools for organizing around and getting parents more involved in the school, how to approach that in a way that has proven to be successful, and also about community involvement and how to overcome hurdles that kids have in being successful at school. I'm planning on working with Robert and with others at RFK to be able to use some of those tools, those relationship building meetings and foster those meetings and what the Industrial Area Foundation calls house meetings to be able to engage the community further with how we can move forward with success. And I just wanted to let you know that the stories of success that came out of that, not just from Albuquerque Interfaith, but from all over the world, not just the United States. There were people there from Barcelona, for example.
And British Columbia.
And British Columbia. And it was just inspiring. And that's the kind of thing that I think could help with us moving forward with further success at work.
How many people were in attendance?
90. And 25 organizers from 30 institutions, from all the way from British Columbia to Houston.
There were people from Mexico, there were people from Barcelona, there were people from British Columbia, there were all over the United States, mostly the Western United States.
So was this focused on school community? Or was
No,
these are
it is
just
focused
techniques of how to
on
organize?
building power to improve community.
Whatever in that,
Fill in the
Yeah.
blank.
So the training that I think is most applicable is something called Pressures on the Family. And you attended some trainings, some other people attended trainings, but it was with Ernie Cortez. Ernie Cortez is no longer directly involved, and so the other veteran lead organizers are now running. So I've been at this a while, it's much better training without having to pay homage.
Yeah.
And so
I was in the conference with Robert Cole when he talked about and presented Pressures from the Family, and he had some twists on it that I had not heard before in order to be able to engage families, to be able to share their stories in a way to energize and activate what do we do about these hurdles, these pressures that are causing problems with families being able to be successful, including the kids in the family being able to be successful. So, I've taught pressures on the family more than once. And it energizes me to incorporate some of that into the class that I've taught and to be able to provide that. And I want to be able to provide that.
So what would you see the way in which that gets incorporated in the RFK and what we do with them?
Well, the first step is for me to meet with the folks that went and some other people within RFK, the leaders, the principal and other lead teachers that have been here for a while about what these tools are and how they could do it. And have a training. I would like to present pressures on the family to a core group here and see how we can move this forward. It doesn't come from me. It comes from those leaders within RFK. So it bubbles up. How can we engage? How can we lower the hurdles for the kids? How can we do this in a way that removes what allows them to move up the scale? So it's a collaborative effort, but it's focusing on those most prominent, and it's the group that identifies the problem.
So would that be something that you would like to have a board committee pay attention to?
I'd like to see the GC do the pressures on the family training.
Okay.
Right. Because then the family is that unit, right? And that family brings certain things to the development of that young person, right? And then some of those things are missing, right? And so part of it's because of the pressures on the family. If your father's incarcerated, I think they're different. Mother's an addict, things are different. If you're in real poverty, things are different. If you're homeless, things are different. And so folks are aware of the capstone program, and the students in the capstone program have selected public and community health. And so this pressure on the family fits within that topic. And so I'm interested in the pressures on the family being taught to the young, right? And some of the staff. But I think the council would benefit in understanding it. And I can't tell whether Alfred, the interface is going, all right, Carlos.
All right, found it.
He's never been here.
I've never been here.
And you can see why we love the building.
Yeah.
And so.
And I'm just trying to think of mechanisms.
Did you try to
Well,
ask him a few times?
So right? And so, the students are supposed to play community action projects, right? And so out of this pressure on the family, I think there would be issues that the students can
So ladies, what do you think?
I think that it would be good. I wouldn't be opposed to doing the training. Having it presented to the governance council and then seeing, where we can help out.
Is there any meetings
Oh, yeah.
earlier so that Carlos can hear about the training that?
We can summarize it.
I mean, summarize.
We can talk about it more.
All right. But before you go, when I brought this up to his wife, Representative Royal Caballero, she told me that, so this was all started by Saul Lewinsky, right, in the 30s and 40s and 50s. She says, 40 years ago, she went to the same training as Saul Lewinsky did, and it was transformative for her life. And so she's actually done it. I don't know if Carlos has done it, but
But again, it's sort of like, it's a great idea, you got, how do we channel that into action? This is just sort of my question. Ideas about how does it come from an idea, it seems valuable, it seems helpful, consistent with our mission.
It doesn't come from my idea, it doesn't come from the idea of the training. It doesn't come from, it comes from the group attending the pressures on the family.
Okay, so that means we need to get a group of people.
Yes.
And that group of people would include GC members,
Yep.
teachers,
Yep.
parents,
Yep.
students.
Administrators. Yeah.
That's what's bringing to go to the next training. So,
The next AI training.
Yes.
And Aaron
how quickly-
has been, hasn't he?
No, he's good.
But he hasn't been.
No.
Oh, I thought he had. Okay, so I guess what I would say, yeah, go ahead.
Good. I just, Carlos, we're talking about the Industrial Areas Foundation and the training that we just came back and how to incorporate some of that training into working with the students and the families. And what I'm suggesting is it's a 45-minute training.
Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, and so I'm suggesting that and maybe it's when Dorothy comes back down, the organizer from Denver, he comes and does it here, or Kip does it, so you're participating as a participant, not necessarily doing the training. Either way, right? But it's called Pressures on the Family, and the people in the community are identifying what issues are causing problems within the family. And then when you do it with staff, or you do it with the community, those issues get listed. And then you ask, well, who's willing to work on this? Who's willing to come to a meeting on this? And so if nobody raises their hand, and so we're not gonna work on that issue, right? Well, because you don't have a group interested.
Right.
So so fentanyl would be an issue. There may be people, homelessness would be an issue, right? So Lenika's worked with a group on homelessness. She might be interested in coming to that meeting, or maybe she's not, right? But the issues then rise up in the young people. That's where I really want to involve these young people. And if the young people are involved, the parents are involved, right? And so, but one of the areas that we need to work on is parent involvement, right? And so very often parents don't know what they can do, right? And so they're not empowered to do anything, right? And so if there are people working on this, then I think we get real parent engagement.
Okay, great. So next step, board, what's the next step? What do we do?
Well, next time you schedule one of these, I think it would be a good chance to do the training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next training that we have?
Yeah.
At
Okay.
the next retreat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, and then maybe we can, involve some of the teachers and see who they think a core group of parents and students might be.
So I'm gonna wanna do this training with the staff, right? So that process happens, right?
Separate of having it when we do our.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and then I'm gonna want it done with the capstone seniors,
Okay.
so that they can identify.
Early.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, what pressures that they see. So look, gun violence is one of the things that are, right? And so Miranda's currently working with 12, 13 students doing podcasts, right, on gun violence. And so that group's already, right? That's how I see it, because there's very little parent involvement. And if the kids are going to have to do presentations at the end of the year, parents being involved in that development of those presentations, I think engages parents.
For next training. Yeah, on that.
Comments, Carlos?
So I think maybe in that training, think about getting somebody like Michelle to do a little presentation to the staff Because I think pressures on the family there's so many. One is hunger, I could say, I mean, and still, we're still, kind of healing from COVID. Everything that happened and the loss and they didn't come to school, nobody went to work. I mean, that was terrible.
Sure.
And I work with people that have pressures every day. And a lot of it is just the finance part.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They don't know where they're gonna go. And,
Yeah. So part of the issue is this is about broad-based organizing.
Yeah.
And that is, if I or if you or one individual who feels this pressure is trying to do something about it, it's almost impossible to do something about it.
By yourself.
Because it's individual. But it's the organization of people that everyone involved with that has an interest in that can play a part and make a change. So it's broad-based, it's getting more people involved, which would allow that power to develop
It's collective impact.
collectively.
So you talked about hunger, all right? So your church does a food distribution, right? RFK does a food distribution. So we have to push the Youth Conservation Corps kids over there to help do the food.
We mentioned it before. I talked to Aaron before on this, and we would be happy to take kids that want to help us too.
Right. So if there were kids in the capstone program that identified food as an issue, then we're not dragging kids to the food distribution. These are the students that want to.
Believe it or not, there's a few kids that want to do that.
I'm sure there are.
You know, when you help somebody and you see a family coming in from Afghanistan and there's a car full of 12 of them and they're all males and they've never seen anything like this, and then you see them about a year later and they're more frustrated now than they were then. The conversations that you get from them are very powerful, and to know that you helped somebody, the thank you is just enough.
All right, so if RFK students went and helped with your food
No,
distribution,
not ours.
but wherever, right? Because you do it out of your church.
We do it out of our
Right.
church.
So it's just for young people to then experience those stories, and it's not just RFK, it's an issue in the community. Then that becomes their community action project, right? And they do that presentation at the end of the year because they chose it rather than, okay, all ICC kids need to report to the Roadrunner Food Bank, because we have to drive staff to it. And then it would allow the schedule in the school on that food distribution day to allow those students out.
So this process allows people to identify common issues and collaborate instead of individually trying to address it. And where do I deal with food? What are the issues? It's the broad base, it's the collaboration and the group effort that is so powerful.
So what inspires that? What inspires that?
Who inspires that?
What inspires that?
In me? The same thing that inspires me to be here. That is, I see a process that has such potential to make positive influence. I want to help that along. What part can I play? What is it that I can do? And by operating in a group, we have more power and more ability than what can I do? I mean, as an individual, not a whole lot.
Yeah, sure. But it's about stories,
Yeah.
right? And when young people hear other people's stories, that's how they know.
Yeah.
So we're open to do a training.
Yeah, I think next training, we'll do that class. Yeah, next month, sounds good.
And let's try to get Jorge to come, that way he meets this. Right? He's the organizer that comes down from Denver to Alphabet interface doesn't have an organizer, and so either it gets reestablished or it goes away. And so this is how the work of structured RFK is developed. And so it's going to continue whether AI continues or not. Right? And so I have an interest in, while I'm still here, to embed this idea of collective impact. And students and parents who are part of the solution, instead of just the consumer. The parent seems to be a consumer of getting their kids high school diploma, and the kids and students seem to be the consumer of here's my education, here's my diploma, and I didn't do anything. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Good. Any other comments on that? It's certainly consistent with what RFK or wanting to do. Maybe a way of doing it, getting that engagement. And that would be a start. And I guess you can manage the organization. Details.
I just saw somebody from Sweat went, and so Sweat's engaging in this participation as well, because they're connected to Capstone now. And I have a GC number there.
Great. Okay, next on the agenda is Angel, board member, who everyone is familiar with. Angel and circumstances and all that. We talked about it last time as well.
We talked about it the last Tuesday.
Yeah.
We did that.
I have talked with Angel.
Oh, you have it? Well, okay. 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 So what's before the board, what we as a board have to make a decision about is sort of the bylaws of being a member of the board and when someone's not appropriate to be on the board. For whatever reasons, they choose not to be, that's fine. Something happens and it doesn't seem appropriate for them to represent RFK in the public. Someone doesn't come to meetings, someone doesn't do their CEU credits, all of those kinds of things that are expected of us as board members. And so we can talk about that a little bit at the training after this meeting, because I want to really make sure we all look at what our policy is on that and see if we want to change that. Yeah.
So since we go into a private meeting to get them in, can we do that to get them out and not talk about it in an open meeting?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'll call then, we're not an executive, closed session,
Executive session.
executive session, right?
Yeah, it's appropriate for executive.
Okay, so I'm going to call an executive session now. The recording can be off.
All right, so you don't have to leave. It's at the discretion of the council who could be in the executive session.
Okay.
It is appropriate for staff to leave. And I think it's a valuable discussion. I think it was a valuable discussion in the last meeting.
What would the board like? You want it to be just?
It just shouldn't be in minutes, is where I.
Clearly not minutes, yeah.
I'm just recording the time we went into a closed session.
I think we just have to have a discussion with the board.
Okay.
Board discussion.
Yeah, usually all staff would leave.
Okay, all right, so,
It's a personnel matter.
okay. Well, it's off the minutes, but the question of it, and who else is in here?
Hey, Kelly. I'm forwarding you an email when you print it.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so,
My question is, has anybody had a conversation with Angel?
I've had two since the last meeting.
Okay.
and Bob is also.
It's been a little while since I've had that.
Well, it was by accident, it wasn't.
Yeah, let's go through that so the rest of us can get a feel of whatever
What the
he's
issues
saying.
are.
Right,
and-
his side.
Yeah.
What do you say anyway?
It's gonna, his case is probably gonna be dismissed, he feels real bad. The thing about that is,
You were here, you want the background on that?
Yes.
yeah. That's all that he told me, and we ran into each other at Chili's, so it wasn't that he called and to talk about this specifically. It was just
So
an
it's in
accident.
the paper and on the news.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
And so what's the name of that group place?
Well,
I don't know who did that.
Chia Hut,
Chia. So,
but they were at Hooters before that.
right, and so what was on the news was that there was the cost that had assaulted this girl, right, put his hands on this girl, in this Chia Hut. And so he was asked to resign from his position in the city. And so he's hired an attorney, and there's 90 minutes of footage in Hooters, where she's hanging all over him, they're drinking.
This particular,
The same one
The
who's
same one,
filed
the later
charges
went to Chia.
yeah,
with him.
with him, and he tried to kiss her, she pushed him away. But while they were at Hooters, she went to the bathroom and he started hitting on another girl. And so she got offended, right? And so she pressed charges. He has hired an attorney. The attorney has this footage from Hooters to show that they were pretty buddy, and that he believes that it's going to go away. Right? But it was on the news, in the paper. He's lost his job at the city. He's currently working for a security firm. And so I talked to him, and he said he would be happy to submit a letter of resignation. And once it's cleared up, he would have an interest in coming back and working at the school. I invited him to this meeting. He said he was really busy with his other job, because he's still a member, right? And so his letter said, Robert, I'm sending this email to unfortunately inform you of my resignation from the governance council. I took time to consider my decision, came to the conclusion that I'm dealing with too much in my personal life to give you all my full focus and attention that you deserve. I will reach back out in the future, but I'm still here if you need my help with anything. Thank you for the opportunity to help out the RFK community. Best regards, Angel Garcia. Okay,
Great.
and so I really appreciated your comments at the last meeting.
Yeah.
He's innocent until proven guilty, but he also recognizes that this brings a negative view of RFK. And so, comments on this letter, Roberts?
Well, what he's saying is, I'm glad to step down and if he wants to come back
Yes.
later on, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I know that the image is not good. It's not good for the school. It's not good for all that we're trying to do. But you know, he apparently he feels good about the case. that
Yes.
It's gonna be thrown out. And stuff like that happens all the time. And we just, I'm glad that it's coming from him. And we're not doing too bad.
Yep.
Hopefully he can get his job at the city back.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
I said, hopefully he'll be able to get his job at the city back.
So once his reputation is cleared, if it is, then will we offer the position to him to come back as a JC?
I don't have an issue.
I mean, GC.
I've known Angel a while. I like him, right? He's made changes in his life, and he admits he was drunk, right? And so, now the city sort of forced him out, right? They made him resign, right? And I don't know if he gets a job in the city back. He's interested in running for public office. So he really needs to get this cleaned up, it needs to get scrubbed clean. And I think he does good work, particularly with young people that are incarcerated, to hear people that have changed their life. And so I mean, I'm gonna meet with him, right? We're gonna have lunch, right? And so I'm going to keep an ongoing working relationship with him. Because once it's in clean, and if he can be a benefit to talk to the young people, to help them change their life. He particularly works with people that are coming out of incarceration and helps them. He brings them to RK, he gets them housing, and so he's not gonna change that part of who he is.
Yeah.
And I can say that I do like Angel.
Yeah.
I like what he had to bring to the council, you know, and just as you said, Robert, you know, he has a connection with the negative elements.
Yep.
Out in the community. And he has a way of bringing them forward. So I did like Angel.
I would ask him to come back on this when he feels that it's okay. And I know that things like that wear out in the public's image anyway. It doesn't last for a few months. He does bring to the table that perspective of a lot of our kids, what they're going through, a lot of our families, and we need that. I mean, I come from, my background is very colorful.
I'm gonna use that description for my life.
His is much more colorful, so I listen to what he has to say, and I think a lot of times we need that to make us think 2 or 3 times where we're going with some stuff, and it's an opinion that I think we need to keep, if not him, somebody like him.
And, you know, sometimes when people fall into those kinds of issues, they're willing to come back and do the right thing. And look back on what happened and say, okay, let's move forward and let's change the character or the personality that I have to become a better person.
It's steps, right? It's steps for him.
Well, Carlos said it changed my mind completely right now. And that's pretty powerful because I like Angel, and I think that you're right. We all have things that we don't like about ourselves, that we put ourselves in colorful, basically. And who am I to judge him?
See, everybody's
You know,
really
but
colorful.
he's taking responsibility, and we all can learn from that.
Yes.
Especially the kids. I do love his attitude. I love his personality. I work with, he brings people that need help to us all the time, and we help them as well. So I think that he needs work, self-work. He needs to work on himself, and by stepping back, it's a good thing. But he has to take responsibility. He should not get drunk around too many people.
Right.
Yeah, right.
He needs to watch
Yeah.
himself.
I mean,
Because he
the
can end up
letter
hurt.
proves his
He can end up hurt.
responsibility.
Well, I think the big difference from the last meeting to this meeting is that we've heard from him. He hasn't reached
Oh,
out.
yes.
Now it's more than just what was heard in the news and portrayed at the last meeting, right? There's been more information. And so, I mean, I worked for a wonderful nonprofit, and everyone, you know, deserves a second chance. So sometimes it's third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, you know?
But to know that you have that support,
Yeah.
with that unconditional love, I would say, it really does help a person. It helps a person in many, many ways, so.
And him participating in the schoolwork RFK is part of that growth and development, right?
Yeah.
He's not shut out, he's not pushed away, he recognizes where he's at right now, but even if you didn't join the GC, him working with the school, him working with students and families, it's part of his development.
He likes helping people, he's good at it.
I appreciate your comments. You know, I haven't worked with Angel before, but the conversations that I have had with him, he brings something to RFK which is valuable to the students. And I agree that it's not adding something with the situation as it is. It's good for the kids with him in the situation that he's in, and for him to step away. Yeah, allow for us to invite him back when he feels like he's in a place that he can re-engage. I think that what he brings is valuable, and we should invite him to come back and accept his break.
His response is awesome, thank you. So we were discussing, and that, he welcome, that everybody felt that it was a positive interaction, that he was welcome.
In our bylaws, it states a board member may be removed for cause by a majority vote of the board. Cause shall include, but is not limited to, engaging in acts that are contravention to the best interest of the organization.
But to Carlos's point,
Yeah.
innocent shall prove guilty, but the way you described it, the fact that it was on the news, I mean, it's
Well,
not
he
good.
was
reputation.
engaging in acts that weren't so
Yes.
proper.
And that's
Well, that's his personal
that's my
opinion.
issue, that's my issue on this one. It's not an Angel.
Okay.
Absolutely, I think we can help him in his development of being a
That's
public figure if he wants. And I've obviously worked in this field for 40 years, worked with a lot of people who have gone through this, and it
That would call
colorful, I had a colorful work experience. But the point is, what is his response to it? It's not when
Right.
something bad happens to any of us.
Right.
How do we respond to it?
Right.
And for me personally, I was a little offended he would not reach out to us. And I made several attempts. Granted, they were all to his work numbers, which was the only contact I had. So to me, that's more the issue, is kind of the character stuff more than the act. And so now I think things have settled in some way, and I agree. I think Angel on the board, I agree with everything everyone said, and I like him, and I want to help him take those steps to be different, to pull himself out of what his colorful past. And I also feel a responsibility to RFK and the reputation of RFK and the structure of the governing council. Because without having, what are we doing here if we're not if we're not providing a servants of governance over the school, which includes image? Absolutely, when I'm out in the public, I'm representing RFK as far as I'm concerned. And I'm bringing it up as much, actually, also
Yes.
RFK Junior too now, but anyway. And so I behave in a way that is going to bring questions or raise awareness of the amazing things we're doing at this school. So anyway, that's how I kind of live my life with that kind of.
Well, we have to face the fact that image plays a lot in what we do as a school, what we do as a board.
And trying to get we're trying to get out into the community so people know what the hell we're doing here, so we get students.
Yeah.
So,
I think where we're going is it's a happy, it's a good place. We're working with it.
we're following our
We're
guidelines.
following guidelines, we're not throwing them away.
But as president, you tried to reach out to him and he would not respond back.
Well,
Is that what you're
again,
saying?
my way of contacting him was all through city cell phone, email, all that kind of stuff. And he had gotten fired or
We resigned.
something. He was no
So
longer
email
using
and
it.
phone, we're no
We're
longer.
not going to. So there's no way I could reach out to him. I could get him, And so Robert used channels, other channels to find them, and then had the contact.
And what was the time period between,
2 months.
Couple months.
so
He'd been in a
that's
meeting when he
two
was in
GC
Dallas.
meetings in the process?
Yes.
Well, and he had missed some previously.
Yes,
for
he
the-
did, and he missed
No,
quite
no,
a few,
right.
if I remember.
And also on our year-end CEU things. So there's some sort of separate of him being on the meeting headlines on the news with his picture. Other than that, his performance as a board member needed to be addressed.
We asked once.
Yeah, Lawrence, you got any comment on this? Hey, Lawrence, you still there, man? You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Now we can't. Now we
Hello?
can. Now we
Yeah,
can.
my initial comment is that maybe we just sit tight, and if he doesn't show up to a lot of board meetings, then he doesn't seem to have an interest, and maybe take action then.
Well, Lawrence, he has submitted his resignation letter. So he's not wanting to stay.
Okay, then I have no comment. My only comment is, hold on, is we can't approve his, we don't vote on it. He just submits his resignation, and that's the end of that.
And that's what appears in the minutes.
Same as Michelle.
Okay, I'm going silent.
Okay, so then executives, we're all good? Kind of the plan would be to accept his resignation,
Yes.
invite him back if he chooses to want to come back, and we can evaluate at that point.
So the minutes should say that we received a letter of resignation and it's.
Yes, you can't accept it, or I don't think, you can't vote on it. You just state that you
Report.
received.
Report it.
Just like Michelle's is being recorded.
Correct,
I have a
exactly.
I have a question, so if he's found guilty of the act, do we still bring him back?
That will discuss,
I think we wait until whatever circumstances occur, and if Angel says, hey, I'd like to be back on the board, we go through our board process, which hopefully at training, we'll talk a little bit about
Well,
board members and all that.
I think if he was found guilty, he wouldn't be here.
I don't know.
Does it?
Depends if
Hopefully he
it's.
I think it depends on how we
wouldn't.
do
Well,
it.
because he's got other past
yeah,
ones
we
too.
just have to wait until that,
Yes.
that
Let's
happens.
not even talk about it. Let's not even be reminded.
And it was just before this incident, when I talked to him. So one of the things that he talked about is that he has a lot of personal obligations, which he's having trouble managing. And
Plus
hasn't been
physical stuff, his body.
I mean, and I understand that, but I'm looking in the
Yeah.
future, so.
I think we wait,
I'm-
and when it comes up, we figure it out. Okay, is everyone good on that, so we can let them come back in?
So he submitted a letter of resignation, that's it.
Yes. As did Michelle.
Let's good.
Acknowledge.
Well,
We've had 2 resignations.
right, so 70 on.
And Michelle did say that if we needed her to establish quorum, she'd stay on, but that doesn't help.
As they step off, that is, however, it's one more than that.
Okay.
We didn't know how many copies you wanted, so we just made enough for the board.
Oh, yeah, you just need to.
That way, that's why it's-
You don't have a book?
Oh,
Sorry, yes, I will give you one. Yes.
So it's through the secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I just.
You guys decide.
I'm just trying to get that to
So
the
that goes
secretary.
to, that goes
I'll have that in
Hey,
there. There's a couple things.
there's the letter of resignation.
Sorry. Even if I just have one for, like now.
You don't have it, it's probably over here. I'll do it. And I'll get it to me.
We can, you wanna
Just
borrow that one?
replace it.
Yeah, yeah. We'll do that.
So I've got them sitting on my table.
Well, I have delegated me 6 more this summer.
But we should be very here.
Yeah, I'm saying, so she wanted, so she
Yeah.
can look at
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just for the second part of our meeting today.
They got it.
I just don't want.
It's just the idea is you put the minutes in the binder, you know what I mean?
Sound check, you guys went silent?
What? What?
You went silent.
Oh.
Okay, so along those lines, as we're reconvening, the minutes are reflecting the decision of the executive meeting. We also have a resignation letter from Michelle. And so she also is, which actually is a separate thing we can talk about in training, but the process of us keeping the rotation of board members and looking for new ones, how we're gonna get them, who those are gonna be, what needs we have as a board that would say that's the kind of person we need to supplement to round us out. We can talk about that later. PED status.
So you're recording both letters of resignation?
PED status.
Covered at the last meeting.
I think we did.
Right, and so,
If you wanted me to leave it on there for something.
yeah,
I know,
Yeah.
because I want to explain that. So, at the last meeting, we talked about the end of year meeting that we had.
Yes.
And that we received $125,000. Recently, we've been given clarification about how that money needs to be spent. So do you
And
want
is that because of our high intensity or whatever our level is?
So we have the opportunity, and I'm excited about being a school that is in need of more rigorous intervention.
Right, and that's where that money's coming from?
Yes, so it's $125,000, and at the end of the year, because part of the reason we're in MRI school is because of attendance.
Mhm.
MRI stands for.
More rigorous intervention. And so they tell you why you're failing school, and you're supposed to target those reasons. All right, so attendance is one of those reasons. And then grade level content being taught in core classes. And so what we told them was we were going to onboard an attendance intervention specialist. I don't think that's the title that we did.
We did an attendance coach.
Yeah,
Coach.
Oh, okay.
right.
Nice.
And so the frontline interventions, you start missing, you check with the advisory teacher, are they contacting them? Then parent meetings are set up early, so we have an early warning system. So by the 5th absence, there's a parent meeting, and what needs to change.
And this person will manage that process?
Yes.
Robert, do you want me to share my screen? I have the budget.
Is it both schools? One?
Yes, it's all one school.
Okay.
But you're gonna share, so, but the guidelines are, you can only, this year's money,
Yeah.
50% of that salary.
50% of the
So 60
$125 will
grand.
pay the
65.
So,
absence coach.
so that, I think it's 42,000 or something.
Yeah, so it would be no, it's 33 plus benefits. Yeah, so it includes the benefits as well.
So only 50% of that can come out of that 125.
This will be a full-time position.
It is. And so you get this money 3 years in a row. And so what they don't want you to do is to spend it on a one-time thing, right? Because if you're really gonna make the change, then attendance is something that we keep an eye on. So it's 50% this year, 75% next year, that we have to pay.
Yes,
And then that next time it's 100%.
Yeah.
So
We have to support that.
yes,
so
and
like phases it out.
phases it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, phases it in to be a sustainable position.
Phases
So
out,
you
yeah.
have to match what you're receiving.
We can use half of that salary out of the 125. So it's sort of like a match, right?
Yeah.
But
It's a
then
subsidy.
next year, we're going to have to absorb 75% of that, and the third year, we have to own it. So next year, we will identify some other piece, then we get to use that 125 to see what else we need to do to continue to improve. And so the other piece that we did was an instructional coach, because at the end of the year, I thought we got to use the whole. Right, salary.
Yeah,
So it's the same thing, and so we budgeted for an instructional coach.
a 0.25 FTE.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why we did that is we did the 0.5, the turnaround principal.
Yep.
And then we did 0.5 of the
Oh.
attendance coach. And then I had, and I didn't have enough for a 0.5 instructional coach.
Okay.
So I just did the 0.25.
So what happens to the other half of that 125?
And so that 125 is cut up just the way she just explained.
Oh, so we're able to use it, but just not on that one person.
We can use
Half
half of it, right? So, and it needs to be new people,
New staff.
right? So we have a new high school principal, right? So it's half of that salary, and we're calling that a turnaround principal.
Yes.
Right, and so half of that salary is coming out of the side of 25, and then there was a little left over, so the 0.25 is going to the instructional coach. That's how
We're using all that.
we're adding those pieces, with that 125.
Now, what happens year two to
We,
those three positions?
they stay,
Well, out of that 125?
no, so we can 75, so this year's 50%, right, we put out. Next year, we have to put 75%,
For all of those?
each of those.
Each of those?
Right, so that, well, they're all important pieces
Yeah.
moving forward. So we need to absorb them over the next 3 years into the operational budget, or some other grant or whatever, into the operational budget to show that they're sustainable.
And then what do we do with the other?
We identify other areas, so we can spend this big long list of stuff. we can
So
spend
would
on
you create a
professional
new
stuff.
program?
We could, like a reading intervention piece, right, where we hire a new reading intervention.
We can use that then. that
And
money
create
for
a
that.
new fund?
Well, no,
It
it's
would
still
be
be
under
a
the
school
same
improvement,
fund,
Same.
yeah, it would be under the same
Yeah,
fund,
but
but they receive the same
different person.
part,
So they're wanting you to
bid
every
out.
year add something more
Identify something else that's gonna move the needle.
that they can use, that we use that money.
And there's a lot of other things, so professional development, there's a program called AVID that, a lot of schools use. You keep an agenda, it's about student account, so that's $30,000, you can do that, so there are things you can spend, this year, is those people. Right. Those are critical pieces.
So with the coach, we should, as a school, be able to keep a very steady flow of revenue coming in and be able to sustain.
That's exactly
Personnel that come program, that probably, I know you go for a bump. If to get the school going, it's 100 students, you always want more.
Right.
We may be able to pick up the bump for added projects that you might want to do.
So
Yeah.
if the attendance improves, then we don't drop those kids. Right. So we don't lose that money.
Right.
So this person should be able to keep those kids from being dropped and generate the revenue to support them moving forward. That's the idea.
So you could create incentives for these students through that extra bit of money.
Incentives.
Well,
Like
there's a,
programs.
Programs, yeah, I can't pay them.
No, I mean,
Yes,
I'm talking programs.
so you could do tutoring.
Yes.
Right, you could do after school activities.
do more freckly.
You can do more practice, reading interventions, right? You can also pay, but I mean, you can pay for teachers to go get a master's.
Yeah.
Right,
That one?
yeah, out of that fund.
I guess because of the elevate.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
trying to see where.
What I would like to see is, inclusive of reading is a study skills class of some sort.
Right?
Because, once the student learns how to study, how to take notes, how to, when I went to college, somebody gave me a structure, a 45-minute study and 15 minutes break. And I used that through college and it worked fantastic.
So you heard me just talk about Avid.
Uh-huh.
Avid is like a program that becomes a class.
Okay.
And that class is exactly what you described. Only like a nationally recognized, so it comes with some curriculum, comes with every kid carries around the binder that's tracking all their assignments, what they're doing, right?
Yeah, that's the key. Teaching students how to learn.
I didn't learn how to learn until college either. I took a class there and that's when I learned how to learn. It's like, why so late?
Yeah, exactly.
If I would have known this then.
In high school, this should have been.
Right.
Okay, so if we're having nothing on the PED report, we've got a lot on the PED.
Well,
Yeah, no,
they just let us know, and
oh, is that,
report was due a week later.
Yeah.
And
So when does that come?
this,
it's in the budget,
Oh, it isn't.
but the
The new.
guidelines,
It's just over 25.
so, but how you could spend it,
just told us.
was just told, and so we thought we were gonna be able to put the whole principal salary in there, and the whole attendance coach in there, and all of a sudden,
Okay, middle school update. Aaron is not here, but he did submit a written one.
You didn't want to hang out with us on Sunday?
Well, he said we could all use his office if we needed it.
He's on vacation.
That was funny.
Both principals are on vacation.
So middle school, everyone can kind of look at it and go through if there are any questions. Excited to get back. Professional development, 4 days of professional development. Collaborating, build success, turnover at the middle school. Math, got a new math teacher. So they're fully staffed or not?
Yes, they're fully staffed, and actually, so we were interviewing for a PE teacher at the high school.
Oh, right.
And so we brought in somebody, that they were K through 6. And using her as a PE teacher is really going to be a waste. She's bilingual.
So the resource other than PE teacher.
Well, so, we don't want to let her get away, right? And so, but she needs to be eligible for loan forgiveness. So if we hired a high school, it would have been as a long-term sub, because she wasn't certified for high school. But the loan, and then she had another job offer from another school. And so we said we could move you to the middle school, and you could be, because then the loan forgiveness would apply because you're certified. And you would be the PE teacher for this year. The PE teacher here, well,
I know,
I'm explaining it. You asked.
I know, it's
Look.
watching the way you work.
So, well, this is somebody that we know.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
So the PE teacher here, I think he's retired twice now, and he didn't want to do all the work to get his license back. So he's been employed as a long-term sub here. And so this is his last year. Now, he said that a couple of years now. This is his last year. So he's been moved to a academic interventionist here, so that she can take the AD teacher. It burdens the middle school budget significantly. And the middle school budget needs to be based on 100 students, not 75.
Or 50.
Have you heard that from me before?
Yeah.
So eventually this person is going to be a high school associate, right? Right now, this year, she's going to be PE teacher. So not only are the staff positions full here, but well, look, he's really useful. He does all the duties. Would you agree?
Yes.
So yeah, so data students or work individually on academics. He's an important member of the team.
Yes.
Right? And so he gets to stay on the team. We get to put a certified PE teacher in here. And so
What about the high school?
so I have 2 interviews, one of them on Monday. They both would have to be long-term subs, because one of them has a master's in physical education or sports, something, right? But it's not a certified PE teacher. So they go in as long-term sub. So I'm actually looking at a male and a female. The gymnasium at the high school has an issue with locker rooms, right? Where the kids go in and use the bathroom and change it out. Because they go in there and do things other than dress out and really, yes. And so when they're colorful.
Colorful things.
And so I had a female PE teacher, right? So the boys' bathroom was a real issue. And so.
And if you got a male PE teacher.
Yes, so there'll be one who really is going to be in the PE room all the time. The other person will be a long-term sub and will then also be able to cover classes for being a sub. Because now what we do is we put an education assistant to be a sub, and that they need that education assistant for the bilingual. They need that education assistant for that. It's really not providing the appropriate service, so we will have an extra staff member who will be long-term sub. And John Candelari can also serve that. So, we will be fully staffed and actually overstaffed. But if we're going to grow the numbers back, we've got to have places to put those things. So we're fully staffed here and
Okay,
other
so
questions.
50 students only currently there.
That's true.
But I see that 97% are going to the high school. The 8th graders.
Yes.
Kids from last year, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a big part, but the best performing students at the high school are
From
students
here.
from here.
Right.
And in this PED grade, you know, where we're in MRI school, you get the most credit when a student graduates in 4 years. So the only way a student at our case graduated is starting 9th grade over there, and the students coming out of the 8th grade in a month.
Right.
And so they're already part of the school culture.
Yeah, and they're already invested and
Yeah.
engaged.
Yeah, and so are the parents.
That's awesome.
So, attendance, he's working on attendance.
And that attendance coach will monitor the same
This
way.
as well. Okay. What is the maintenance crew preparing the new school? He says, our maintenance crew's been doing a phenomenal job preparing for the new school. School year, probably?
School year, yeah.
Probably, okay. And everyone saw the fencing. Of course, some people haven't been here before, so.
Yeah, it looks really nice, but is it a room deterrent?
Is anything a deterrent?
Yeah, exactly.
From keeping others from trying to break in?
So, I'm gonna say yes. It was mostly funded through a federal grant. And so you walk through a black gate out here. They will come and have a card thing that they have to use. There's a fence at the gate now for the staff parking, and so that'll be more secure. There's a different gate going out to the front, and there's going to be cameras, and Kelly's going to have to be able to see, right? To come in through that black gate, Kelly's going to be able to see them, it's going to be able to. So potentially, now, there used to be this beautiful chain, right on the fence, which is kids playing, and so now it's a much thinner kind of fence that they're using, and so they're going to take the kids that are playing, that are on expanded, relative expanded level left, put them behind the new fence on separate poles, so the kids that are playing will go back up there.
If nothing else, I think to a large extent, a lot of schools were suffering with lack of attendance because either the child or the parents or both were feeling, and there's a lot of little rumors that are passed out to the kids. And it only takes
Unsafe,
a joke.
safe.
Yeah, and so parents say, no, you're gonna be safe. You can go to school, or the kids feels like that's a bunch of baloney. I'm gonna be safe, all the legislators were having to fund for a long time capital outlay for safety. And my thing also was, I would ask, what happened to requests for the classroom learning? And he says, well, if we don't provide the safety, nobody will show up. Or we don't want to suffer the consequences. And so, legislators have to fund a lot of.
It's a reality, right?
Yeah, a lot of fencing, a lot of cameras, all this.
That would honestly
Which
teach
one?
us.
It's either one or the other.
Yeah, and the safety is first. I know that I don't have any little kids, but my grandkids are gonna grow up to that point, and I'm gonna be thinking of safety always.
Sure.
So at the high school, right, where the portables are, people can walk in and out, walk in and out. And so, anybody can walk in there and have to fight. So, boyfriend and girlfriend, walk in, somebody else. And so the fact that they're going to have to do the security gate offers something.
Same at the high school.
Yeah, both at the high school.
Going to be the same.
Yeah, and so, and some more cameras, but like at the high school, because it's portable, you can drive around with those portables, shooting your gun, and they go right through the night. Right. It's true of these portables here. I don't know that a bullet could go through the brick in this building, but it can certainly go through the windows, right? And so it's an illusion of safety and security at some place.
As Nika said.
Right. And so that black gate you walk through, right here, $6,000.
And that's not cheap.
For one?
For one. And so there's one over here, there's three of them here.
Yes.
There's three of them here. And so there's one back over here, and then there's one. There's one like in between over here. And so.
Provide welding here for sure.
So some of them are double, and those are 12. So the one over in the front of the high school, I don't know, it seems a little ridiculous to me because somebody climbed over the chain link fence right next door. Right? And the idea is that if they got in there and they were trying to go through the glass doors, they trapped. Right? And then the office manager wouldn't have to let them in. It's APS property, they can.
APS is doing all this.
Yes. Now, they invested $240,000, I think we had to come up with 80. It's something like that. And most of it was for additional cameras.
Okay, high school report, Robert? And Kara?
me bring my laptop. Did Kara send one?
Did you look?
Did Kara send one?
No.
Not to me. Never met you.
So the principal's on board, it's a transition. People have been over to meet with me, I've been up in that conference room. I'm moving to, put an office in the back portable, and then I would have an office in the budget portable with Irene. We're into our principals that are run high school. And so, it's an adjustment for me, it's gonna be an adjustment for staff. It's just like Aaron gets to run the middle school, I really need to allow that principal to figure out how she wants to run. It's going well. Staff seem to see it pretty well. She's organized, systems, we're setting up regular meetings. Aaron, myself, and her, with Irene, Kara, myself.
The record team, I can barely hear you, but I'm still on.
Okay, I'll speak louder. So the transition with the new principal is going well. We're fully staffed. We've got a new, really good group of teachers, a really good group of new EAs. I'm actually looking at one more EA, right? And so I'm hoping to hire that person this week, right? And then we will be staffed to be able to do 275 students, 375 students, which is the target number for the budget.
375.
Yeah. We did a summer math academy, and thank you, Lawrence, for participating. It was extremely successful. We use that STARS testing. Every student showed significant growth except one. He stayed neutral. But
How many students?
20 students. How many students were in the math academy, Lawrence?
You're muted, Lawrence.
Lawrence,
About 20, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a little
He
less.
said something when he comes back.
So the most significant thing that came out of the math academy, there are 7 students that will be enrolled in college algebra in the fall, and we've never done that. So they've taken the active placer and tested into it, right? And so it's only 4 weeks, and so I didn't want to give C&M credit for it. So they use their curriculum, and they are ready, and will be dual enrolled in college algebra, and we've never had that. It wasn't cheap, but I think the return on investment is pretty clear. Math is one of the subject areas that keep students from graduating on time, because they might come in as a junior, but they haven't even passed freshman algebra. So this has allowed them to do those credits over the summer to get them back on track as far as graduation. And I think it was hugely successful.
As it was last year.
As it was last year, but it's even more targeted this year. And Lawrence participated probably 80% of it. Some of the students outperformed Lawrence on the assessment.
In my time, we will be able to take trigonometry in high school.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see it anymore, not even in my old high school. It's sad.
You're talking about math teacher, I absolutely agree.
Wow.
So trig was good. Trig was such a quality.
And you're gonna be an engineer.
Right. What else is cooking?
Anything was better than geometry.
You like algebra, not geometry. So one or the other.
All right, so we have a capstone program, and we're now designated as a future focus school. And I'll send you my report. I still with my laptop. We're a future focus school, and that future focus school is going to work with seniors that are start capstone. So when we became a future focus school, it allowed a nonprofit to respond to an RFP that would support the capstone program. That nonprofit funding is $35,000 this year, $75,000 next year, and $75,000 a year. And so they came and they wanted some students, some staff, and then some community partners. And so they wanted to reschedule the meeting because they didn't have any community partners. I told them, how many do you need? They said 4 or 5. So I said, well, here's 5 of our community partners, and if you need 10, we can do 10. And so Sweat has been awarded the 3-year grant to work with them. It will supply a career navigator, and it will supply somebody to coordinate other nonprofit partners to come in and present to the capstone seniors so that they can identify a project that they want to work. So I'll participate in one of those groups. That's how they're going to come in and do this pressure on the family, and then help place students. Could be with Bill Wagner with behavioral health, could be with Miranda DeGuns from Gardens, could be with Serenity Mesa around substance abuse. And so, but it's got to be based on what the kids want to do. SWEP will continue to give stipends out of a grant fund that is created to students that are part of Capstone, for students that participate in early childhood education classes.
And Capstone means seniors in Capstone.
Yeah, Capstone is a senior class.
Okay, because they're gonna be doing that all their year.
They'll be doing digital portfolio.
Right.
That will be where Capstone's culminating.
Position, yeah.
Right.
But so when you're saying Capstone, you're referring to seniors.
It is seniors, because Capstone is the alternative demonstration of competence. So if you do not get a passing score on the SAT, then the capstone demonstration is the alternative demonstration of competence. And this alternative the digital portfolio is pushed all the way down to 9th grade. So students begin to build that digital portfolio. And when they get to the capstone, they pick a particular internship they want to do, and that's the capstone project. The capstone is a community action project. They pick something that they want to work on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we have several legislative appropriations that went through the growth fund and Mr. Mid-Region Council of Government. And so the money is flowing now to CNN. They will do an entrepreneurial class with the capstone class. They will do a career exploration class with the capstone class, and they will offer ESL programs for parents. Then there's $100,000 that comes with RFK. I don't know how to get it to RFK. So it's going to CNN, and it's going to be used, we're meeting next week, to pay for the CNN instructors that RFK is currently been paying out of our operating budget. And $100,000 pays for a lot of CNN. So it will pay for the algebra teacher, and we're particularly interested in the CNN South Valley campus because the whole building down there is completely empty. And so if you need to have 20 students, you need to have 20 students in a CNN class in order for it to make, for CNN to pay the teacher. But if RFK's money is paid for the teacher, then it no longer requires 20 students because it doesn't cost CNN a dime.
Right.
And so 7, 8 students would make the class. And so we'd like those classes to be taught at CNN South Valley campus, and RFK would transport students to that campus.
Where is that campus?
So just before you get to Los Padillas.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's just past Raynap.
Right by the community center almost, right? Before the community center?
Head Start's there.
No, Los Padillas Community Center.
It's
Isn't it before
pretty,
that?
yeah, it is before that, but
It's, like you said, it's right past Ray.
right past Raynap. It used to be Pajarito Elementary, CNN bought it, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
And it is unused.
Yeah, it's pretty space.
I think that's
Okay, how about enrollment?
Yeah.
I'm bringing it up under the high school update, not the executive
It's
director.
fair, it's fair. So, we did a series of meetings of students that had poor attendance. Right, in order for them to be able to get a packet to come back, they had come to a meeting with the parents. Because they did not want to fund students that had missed 10 days in a row. And so we did those meetings, and now we have in orientation, what do you call it? No, the registration. We have registration August 2nd, 5th, and 6th. Right? And so so Kelly worked with me the 2 weeks that school was closed. 10 or 11 kids came in during that time. And right now,
New kids or?
new.
Okay.
Right? You agree?
Yeah.
And so we think we have 35 new students.
High school.
High school, but what we need to do is to replace the 52 or 54 students that graduated. Right? So there's 18 students that were here.
Almost all 30.
So they're going, but that's who's making up the majority. So we still need another 25 students.
Can I ask, out of the 54 graduates, what percentage that was in the senior class?
54 out of 56.
Oh, nice. And then, is that,
It's the largest class we've ever had.
okay, and is that the highest percentage of graduates so far?
Yes, and well, and we were down 52 students last year.
Oh, wow.
Right, but still had the largest graduating class. So those kids that are staying are graduating.
Fantastic. Okay.
And all right, part of this is being a school of first choice, right? So I'm no longer calling at Christmas and asking for students that were suspended or expelled. So those kids aren't coming anymore. And so this is the new normalizing of our pay numbers. And we're going to have to adjust to what that normal is until the career technical education goes.
Did you indicate how many high school students are enrolled for this fiscal year?
They're not all enrolled yet. And so I think
That's why you have that
registration
on the
coming
second.
second,
and
fifth, and
sixth.
sixth, yeah. They're coming in now. They're coming in and filling out packets now. So we're 25 students short, and so I'd say we're at 225, probably at the high school. Because people are coming in and got packets, but they haven't brought them back, right? And so it's hard to.
Are those dates for both the middle school and the high school?
Yes.
Okay.
The students come back on the 7th, right? So the staff is back on Thursday?
First,
What day of the week?
Thursday.
Thursday, yes. And so now that the staff's back, we can have enough people in there to do registration, right? And so the staff that are back will do the registration. So some families in the South Valley don't think school starts until after the.
It hasn't happened.
It's just
in a
like
long
our
time.
meetings getting changed.
So I
First one.
I'll see 10 to 15 students after Labor Day. Would you agree? And I don't quite know why they're thinking. Yes.
You're up. You can mute Lawrence.
Yeah, go to silence.
Mute yourself.
We will.
Okay, so anything else? So Robert. Pressing issues.
Oh, we got papers, hanging out here.
Yeah, it had a small antler.
No,
Okay, anything else, Rob?
No.
Does any board have any more questions?
No.
Yeah,
I do, I have one more.
Good, thank
your target, you said was 375 students, that include both high school
Yes.
and middle school?
Yep.
And we're at 270.
No, that 275 is,
275 is high school.
I thought it was 225 in high school.
Yeah, but it's-
Our current enrollment is 225.
Yes.
Our target is 275 at high school.
exactly. So they're 50 short of it.
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
Well, that's 96% graduation rate. so I
Yes.
think
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And the amount of eighth graders moving
Oh,
was
yeah.
also 97,
Yeah.
so I think that really shows great growth.
It's all one school. That's.
And what we're trying to do is consistent with what we're saying we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right,
So we have some,
what the idea is pass forward,
yeah.
and now we'll track these 30 that are moving.
That we're tracking separate.
Track them separate. Okay. All right, I think that was all.
So this is the graduation cohort.
Right.
So these ones that come in here are 4-year graduation cohorts. Because you come in over to high school and you know, I don't know, wherever you start in 9th grade is when they start your graduation. So maybe you dropped out, maybe you didn't get credits, but when you come in, you're now in a 6-year graduation cohort. And that really hurts our graduation rate.
Right.
4-year graduation is what makes it.
Is there anything, Robert, the board can do to help you with the marketing part of this? Seems like the middle school is, I mean,
It will be a third of the incoming students. That's the model.
right, no, I know, but right now, we're really low in the middle school.
Yeah.
And so is there something specifically targeting middle school?
Okay, so,
Well,
it's true.
Yeah.
So,
it's an important,
right, and
our budget
so,
is based on
Yes.
this.
so, the principal, Kara Sanchez, and Aaron are going to visit South Alabama.
South Down middle schools?
Yes, right, to talk to the counselors and the principals about, are there students who are coming in, they don't necessarily want back. I didn't say they want students for eco, that maybe this is a better say. So, Kara Sanchez's partner is the special ed director at Harrison. And so Harrison is what they call the special ed hub. So instead of a bunch of portables all over the South Valley, they brought all the resources to Harrison. And so they're going to be meeting with those principals to see if they can refer students over so that they don't wait to drop out. We're 35% special ed students. Special ed students generate more money than any other student. And we are well positioned to go to high school to deal with special ed. So we're changing the way we do our behavioral health. We will have new behavioral health providers. One from Central Salvador, which is right down here. And they specialize in Spanish-speaking social workers. And anybody that needs to do their social work internship in Spanish does it here. I think that relationship with the community resources, going to help bring kids this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other social worker at the high school will come out of collaborative education services, where we get the rest of our ancillary services. So
we no longer have a behavioral health.
we don't have individuals that are RFK. Budget cut, because they're all contracted now. And as far as the budget cut.
So with the change in that, so they're different individuals, the actual, our behavioral health people that are now,
Will be
will be different people. So they're gonna have to come in and
Yep.
orient kids,
Yep.
the principal,
Yep.
the rules, all that kind of stuff.
And the new principal at the high school background is gifted special ed, right? And so I'm not concerned about the special ed, but I'm of the opinion that all classes should be taught as gifted classes. The type of expectations and well, and the rigor should be dummied down, regardless of.
My question is more about this ancillary services that the behavioral health provide for the students. And with whether they were good, bad, whatever their performance historically has been, when they've been employees, we're now bringing new people in, and relationship is that whole thing.
Yep.
So
So the caseloads have been documented, and those formulas will be available, and anybody that was seeing a social worker will then have that student come in and begin that process.
and will it be identified people who are regularly coming here?
Yes,
So it'll be the same, it'll be Angela,
yes,
so the kids will know Angela.
yes. So we'll have an employee, and we'll, if we don't like the social worker that we're saying, we say we want to.
Right, okay.
And Central South Law is actually going to send a case manager, without charging, right? With the social worker will also be here. That person being funded out of the BHI.
Yeah, right.
So,
And the middle school has behavioral health, the same person does middle school?
social worker?
Yeah.
No, they'll have a social worker assigned to the
To the middle school.
Are we doing any type of intervention or meeting with sixth graders at elementaries to kind of let them know that RFK Middle School is an option and talk to them about not only, could you come to the middle school, but then the high school has these great programs too.
So are you saying with APS going to let us go talk to students? No, is that your
That
question?
is,
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why can't we get, go and recruit sixth graders to join
I
the
used to let us go talk to eighth graders. Well, because I didn't have the middle school then.
Oh.
And so, APS used to have 92,000 students. It now has 70,000 students. Because
With the same overhead.
those 22,000 are now in charter school. And so,
They don't want you to filter anymore, they're gang.
Yeah, homeschool.
it appears so.
I don't know, I think it would be some kind of, I wonder if there's some kind of way, maybe even if boys or girls club or something like that, where we could reach those sixth
So
graders.
pretty good flyers in community centers,
Okay,
but, even the one over by Mark Arduino.
okay.
What about homeschools?
Yeah,
How much are those numbers?
Do you think homeschool wants to let their kids go?
Yeah,
They get reimbursed, they get
yeah, if
reimbursed.
you trust the school.
I mean, I'm willing to, I don't think homeschool's gonna want us to go in and take their kids, because they,
Well,
it's their money.
a lot of the reason why they are at homeschool is because they don't get what they need at the school.
Yeah.
So the safety and then the
So-
education, the
so are you
interaction.
So are you asking me to
They're
go to
wanting
APS
more.
homeschool?
I think that, yeah, we could go to sixth grades at APS homeschool.
mean, we're not taking anything from the school, anything from the home,
So,
let the parent be a parent.
our,
Or have their life.
so,
They get paid.
our bid, yes. And so our
That
bid,
money goes with the student.
that's right.
They need the money, so never mind.
Right, well, that's what I said. So over here on the Sweater and Heart line, there's an alternative school that
Yes, yes.
it's closing.
What?
It's closing. School on Wheels is closing.
A school on wheels, man. Been around forever.
It has,
Why?
well, because of lack of enrollment, because
Oh.
of charter schools.
Pilfering now.
So there's 100 students available I know she was very active,
That was a different way.
right? She graduated from school,
That's
school,
okay, I went there.
and I taught her there, so,
So there's 100 students that were at school on wheels.
yeah.
Oh, are we gonna get them?
I'm working with the teachers that are
How
sponsored.
many board members?
So there's some options out
So
there.
last spring, APS contacted me and asked if I wanted to go run the school, and I said, no, but we'd be happy to take this. I just said I'd be happy to take the building, and so.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I love that, building, right, it's
Yeah.
just like this one, and
Oh, no.
so, that's hopeful for me, but APS doesn't even wanna let those kids go, right? So if they went to school on wheels, then Rio Grande lost that. The district is desperate not to lose any more money, right? And so they are anti-charter, they're not nice about it. So I asked for, what do you call that CPI training, restraint and goals, de-escalation.
Yeah.
Right? So I asked, that's an important training.
Yeah.
So I asked, ABS to do that training, and they said, no, we don't want to provide any training. So,
And the board, APS board is
anti-charter, yeah, and so we need to be strong in the community. I want to see where our numbers hit, before I go.
Does APS teach growth mindset?
No.
They do not.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
So, thank you, Robert. Finance
Okay.
committee
so-
didn't meet, but Sylvia is gonna.
Oh, yeah, we did it.
So I don't have to present.
Well, don't have
Okay,
to.
all of our faith and trust in these, yeah.
So I just want to stress to the board that the operational plan code 11000 is the primary source of our state financial revenue for long-term success. It is the state level school fund distributed through a funding formula known as the State Equalization Guarantee, or SEG. It is funding provided under New Mexico legislation House Bill 130 or HB 130. Okay, so I did an analysis of the operational code because it is the primary fund for our account. So I did an operational fund actual to budget variance, and this is what I came out with. This is my analysis. On the revenue, actual revenue exceeded overall budget by $59,999.91, or a percentage change at 1.14%.
Is that on one of the lines, or is that?
Yeah, that's the very first line under revenue, and you'll see percent of budget is at 101.14.
Yeah, okay.
So it was a 1.114% increase in actual revenue to budgeted revenue. In other words, if budget is at 100%, an increase of a higher actual of 1.14% brings it to 101.14% of budget.
Sylvia, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we get one more?
Sure. You guys want to look at it while I'm talking? Usually, it's just the finance committee who gets this, but.
Thank you. Sorry.
Right?
So, and then on this budget, so when you're using the budget number, Sylvia, that you are using, how is that impacted on the fact we didn't have enough students, so we lost money from what we had budgeted. Does that enter into this at all, or is this looking at what our budget was when we were projecting 3?
Okay, Irene Moore can talk
What is
about
that?
that because the student enrollment determines your
Yes.
operational code, your operational fund.
Right.
Whereas the revenue comes in based on enrollment.
Yeah,
Based on the formula,
Correct,
SEG
correct.
formula.
yeah, but what happens is like, I'm sure you guys remember around January, February,
Right.
we had that big
Right.
cut. That was because of our 40 didn't count, because we were low on students.
Right.
So yes,
So does then our budget, so we got that cut?
Yeah.
Does that come off of our budget? Okay, so the budget isn't fixed when we set it at the beginning of the year.
It changes.
it is, yeah,
I mean, it is
it's
fixed, but it
according,
can
yeah, it'll stay the same as long as we meet the criteria. The
Correct.
criteria is the
And
count.
then once we don't meet it, our budget gets negative that much money.
Yeah.
And so when Sylvia is evaluating this, that's based on the new number budget, not on the original budget. Okay,
It's based
That's what I
on the budget for the period that
that you're
I'm.
looking at.
So the bars, so when we got that decrease, I did a bar, you guys approved the bar,
Right.
and that's what changed the budget.
Yeah.
So the budget that Sylvia is looking at is the.
Is the
current
one,
budget.
okay, good. I
With the change.
just wasn't sure
Yeah.
of that.
Because these are based on the June financials. Okay, all of these numbers.
Yeah,
They come in. Okay, so, expense, I'm looking at the expense. Actual expense was under overall budget by $1,583,678.28. And you'll see that, where it says, expense available is 1.583 million.
Right.
Okay, so, as I said, actual expense was under overall budget by $1,583,678.28, or a decrease of 26.64% in actual expense to budgeted expense. In other words, if the budget is 100%, actual is now under by 26.63%, and thus 100% minus the 26.63 gives you a 73.37% of budget. And you'll see that number percent of budget.
Right.
Okay. Now, with actual revenue at $5,335,108.71, and actual expense at $4,362,657.52. That leaves a positive net margin of $972,451.19. And you'll see that under the difference between revenue to expense, actual year-to-date net balance, and that's in column L at the very top. Okay, whereas revenue exceeds expense in fiscal year 24. If all reimbursements are recorded in the final financial report for June of fiscal year 2024, a positive net margin is where you want to be. Okay, all in all, as we are now at the end of fiscal year 24, I reviewed all of the 34 funds. I think there were 34 funds accounted for. There are 7 funds identified whereas the total net margin is in a negative by over 50,000, which means expenses have exceeded revenues by $50,000. And that's the only thing I'm looking at. I'm not looking at anything less than that, because I think it's more significant to look at that, whereas they're over $50,000. So, the 7 funds include current end-of-year net margin, plus the fund reserve balance from Fund 32000.
Hey, team, this is Lawrence. Just checking it. It's very, very, very low.
What'd you say?
Volume. Hard to hear.
Volume.
Okay. Get better tires, man.
Okay, so the 7 funds include the current end of year net margin plus the fund reserve balance from Fund 32000 and unreserved Fund 32300. They are Fund 24101 or Title 1ASA. Fund 24106, and if you'll see, I've got the check mark on the side.
Yeah.
Okay, to identify it. Which is the entitlement IDEA B. The other fund is 24330, which is ARP ESSER 3. Fund number 24342, which is ESSER 3 round 2. Fund 26107, which is REC/District Fiscal Agent Educational Fellows. Is that what that stands for?
Yep.
Oh, ed-
Education.
Yep.
Okay. Fund 28133, which is the Youth Conservation Corps NMEMNR. And fund number 31200, Public School Capital Outlay.
Meaning those were the ones we spent more than we were given.
Those are in a negative
By those,
net margin, whereas the expenses far exceed revenue coming in.
Those are the
Now-
RFRs.
Those are the ARPA. So, and so, all in all, based on the 34 funds reported for the June period, our case end of year net balance is a positive $1,185,139.07. That you'll see column N, you're right, column L. Okay. The total reported reserves from funds 32000 and 32300 are a negative $172,194.26, thus decreasing our case total net balance for the fiscal year to $1,012,944.81. Okay, that is column N. Keep in mind, though, that there is a lag in revenue each month as it occurs throughout the fiscal year. So by the end of July, hopefully, the revenue stream should catch up with expenses, bringing the net margin to a higher positive. Any questions?
Great. Oh, perfect. Good. Thank you.
okay? Any comments, discussion, questions? Okay, so if I could have a motion to approve the finance committee report received.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, nay. Okay, cash disbursement. Irene?
So our total cash disbursements for June, $731,723.73. I put them up on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But I think they have bigger numbers.
Mute yourself, Lawrence. Mute yourself. Okay.
You know what, he asked me if I would pick him up on my phone, we could probably do that. Avoid all of this noise.
I think. Okay, so cash disbursement. Irene, is there anything on there that's,
Oh, okay, that is the things that kind of.
Pull that piece, boy. Her daughter's keep this. Huh?
thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty, that was. I didn't
The matter
So I
packers,
recognized.
the 3D printers, those were $10. That was 2 printers and all the supplies and material for them. Coming out of school time.
Right, money we had to grant for
Yeah.
supplies and stuff.
So how many,
It's on a back page.
how many 3D printers?
What's that? You want me to, what do you move
A
around?
couple of smaller ones that were donated to us, I think they struggle with it. But,
I still don't understand.
but these ones are like more industrial.
Yeah.
And the 2 that I just bought with that money was, they'll take $5 at one time. Haven't used them yet.
How, and where do the 3D printer classes?
There's one right here on the bottom.
No, I know, but as far as in the curriculum, who uses that, is it in special, I mean,
I do know the language arts teacher at the high school, originally was interested in the 3D printers, so. We do out of school, programs with them.
So they staff are trained to use them. And
Yeah.
students come in and do their
We also have 3D pens that are a lot smaller that they do use in the classrooms.
And Explora comes in and does trainings with these 3D devices.
using those?
Yes, and so in that regard, student classes rotate in to take the Explora class. We've expanded Explora this year. And we've
Because when you were moving,
taken
it's like this.
twice this year in the
Very
summer,
fun.
soil. And so, but that's how they've been getting trained, that's how they get.
That's how they-
Full specialty, that's
And I
furniture, actually.
There was a theme, West.
Mine's going.
The West.
But so it's cutting edge.
Build a house?
Well, there's my neighbor's kids are going to do this, weed parts.
Character.
Weed.
Oh.
Weed, placement.
It's cutting edge.
That's nuts.
So if you, they can make flowers like this, right?
Yeah.
Right,
But
so if they can make flowers like that, they can make.
That looks like.
And so that specialty, was that the stuff for the staff house?
The furniture printer.
And then, but anyway, in the movie.
That one hasn't completely been.
Kurt Russell walks in the class, going, you can pull that piece off. You can pull that piece off.
Other questions?
I put one, and it's for our British property, it's $300,000 purchase order, and it's for, that we're building over there. Yeah, and they're not done, yeah, they're not done with
Regular
that.
people.
Yeah, I said you were right.
Yeah, I don't like.
If you would have told
Okay,
me.
so is there any more discussions, will you think any more on cash disbursements?
He did a movie when he was probably 14 years old.
Okay, if I can get a motion to approve, all in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed, nay, it passes. We got a bunch of bars.
We have 2 bars. The first bar is for Fund 27107. It's library funding. It's carried over from last year. It's at $7,312. So I had talked to Robert about that money, and I talked to Aaron, and he's wanting to use the money.
And he had a regular study pickle.
Furniture and setting up that back little
Casita.
casita we have on here for family and extended family room, just like this.
Clones.
And then the next one is our legislative appropriations. This is a carryover again, also from last year, the carryover to this year. So this one, because I included some of the carryover already in the budget, and this was the remaining amount. So we ended up carrying over 600,000.
And that's added to 700,000
Yes.
this year. So
And
it's
that-
1.3 million in the, no, the total. This is the carryover from last year. They give you 3 years to spend it.
I see.
And so the 600,000 that carries over from last year, it will be in addition to the 700,000,
Oh,
for this year, so 1.3 million.
and again, just, that can be used for operation?
No, it will be used for the, CTE facility that's being built behind, the bridge. So we should have a cost estimate. She's got the plan, the costing it out now. It'll be 100 feet long, 4 bays. So they're pricing it out now to see whether the 1.3 will move it enough, to be able to get it built. We should, if it is, then we be able to go out and get it
Oh, great.
for the back.
Anything else on the bars?
No, it's just the 2 bars.
2 bars, okay. If I could get a motion to approve the bars, whatever Lawrence always says.
Voted on together, but recorded separately in the minutes.
So motion,
All motion.
okay.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, bars are approved.
Next, I have the disposal of assets.
Okay.
I have them up on the screen. You guys also have
We have
them in
these.
with your agenda. These are all Chromebooks and laptops, 1 camera that are no longer functioning. We can't use them at all. LDD, has deemed them as not repairable. So I just need to get them out.
What do you do?
The LDD takes them and because they have to wipe them out or whatever.
You have to take the hard drives out, the CPUs, so that you can't, somebody couldn't harvest the information.
And then what they'll do is hold on to the parts that they can hold on to repair any other problems we have.
Otherwise, they recycle. I think. Supposed to.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
It says approved by the governance council, do we have?
Mark will need to sign that for me because I have to send it over to the state.
Once it's a vote.
Yeah, once it's approved.
so motion to approve the disposal of assets. April motion at second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Finally, lease assistant application signature.
Yeah, I have a bunch of signatures that I need from all of you.
We talk about the lease assistant.
The lease assistance, program, what the state does is they give us the funding the funding for both the high school and the middle school, because they're APS property. The agreement we have with APS, whatever we get in the lease assistance, we give over to them. So it's just a wash, whatever, APS literally bills me monthly, the amount that we're allocated for most schools.
So we do have a document in here that talks about it.
I don't have a detailed document. We do have our, lease agreement with APS, if you guys want a copy of it, I can give it to you. And it just, it's, it just says, the rent is the exact amount you get for the lease assistance. So if I was to get $0, APS would get $0.
So if the lease assistant went away from the legislature, we would not have to pay anything.
Yeah.
That's the agreement. And you want to estimate what you think it is this year?
Last year we got, I can tell you, it's probably more likely gonna be the same, maybe with some minor changes.
700.
Yeah, $728,326. And that's middle school and high school combined.
So it's so much per student.
Yeah. And how much space he has, square footage that's used for learning.
And we have access to that money through APS.
No,
No,
We pay it to APS.
But
We get it.
we get it from the state, yeah.
it's a pass through.
It's- yeah,
I knew it was
it's-
a faster, I just didn't know which direction.
It's reimbursable though. I have to pay APS first and then. the
Oh, it
state
is.
reimburses.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And so like the gymnasium, was $4.5 million. And the supporting works were $4 million. And so we've been paying this for 12 years. And so when I do the math, we paid off the $4.5 million that was in the bond. And so my opinion is that we're going to continue to pay, we ought to be able to add more square footage, which is my argument for APS compliance, grid property. And this money then being the one that pays it. Because when APS builds a building, nobody pays for that building, it comes out of the bond. And so the money for the gym came out of the bond, but they're making money on it.
Yeah.
Right? And so no other district school, other than the charters that are included district, generate money to go to the town.
They still don't like us?
I have a
You
question.
need to
about
remind me, board members.
the Schedule for the CTE, do you think it's on schedule to go to where you anticipated?
Yes, yes, to be able to go out there in October, for the metal building.
Right.
And the metal building is both up here.
Right.
Right, and so we could, available for second.
Yeah.
It's not available for second semester, it will be available sometime.
But you're still hoping for the seventh semester.
Okay.
Can you send both of these ones for the high school? and ones for
Uh,
the middle school? It's for the.
We hear when Rupel presented, and so she's great, she's meeting with the metal building people now. She wanna know what kind of, lift we wanted for the automotive. And there will be no doors in between the bays, it'll be 100 feet of open, right, so
That's
you can do anything,
Yeah,
right?
it's flexible.
Yes,
We're gonna have another bathroom.
yes, it will be back, you were in that meeting, yeah, there will be that.
Bless you.
Okay, I've still got to sign these.
Okay.
Just keep the meeting going.
That's okay.
I'll sign. Okay, executive directors report.
Oh, I'll pass, I think I've covered everything.
Thank you. Well, you know, sometimes we have to go through the high school
I know.
report and the executive, and it's almost a lot the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have to
Well,
listen to
soon
this
we'll-
all
soon
over
we're
again,
gonna be
because it'll be
able to-
different.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Soon it'll be a different
One's for the
high school report.
Yeah.
Okay, housekeeping, training hours, we got an email. I think everyone got that email, right?
If someone can forward it to me, because I did not get it,
Okay.
because I need the hours.
Melissa,
Oh, I had it printed up.
okay? Where are they?
Well,
She's
one
asking for a copy.
There you go. Now this copy.
Okay.
So anyway, we got a report, PED, Melissa, who does whatever they are called. Not continuing ed, they're not continuing ed, which is what I think. Anyway,
You call them CBUs.
CEUs that we have to do as board members, we have to take classes. And so they keep track of who's taking what classes.
I haven't taken any.
Correct, and new board members need to take 10 hours of credits.
Oh, man.
And there's an email, I thought
I don't want to.
I thought your name was on the list, because I looked at the list. And your name, I think, was on there, but can you just send her that,
Yeah.
forward her that email? Because on it, it has the dates you can get the training.
And there's two different ones. You can do the ones that are together with her and some other board members, or you could do one that's you could do whatever you want. whatever time you want. I
Compass,
choose
is
that
called
one.
Compass?
Canvas,
Canvas.
I choose that one because I could do it at my own pace, do it all in one day if you need to.
I was probably like, junk.
Probably.
May have,
Are we in house?
may have, and, for existing members, it's only 5 credit hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dropped from 8, but it's 10 for new members. And, you know, when I was going over the classes offered, there are only 5 classes.
Yeah, and I
So I
didn't
don't know.
realize until now that we have to choose different ones. We can't go over the same ones all the time. So,
Well, to do 5, we just, we take
Yeah.
each one.
so
of
I was
each.
just taking them all. That's probably why the first time I was going through it over and over and over again. Because you only have to do
Governance
one.
of each.
Yes.
So I'm not positive about, Monique, I'm not positive how you can get your 10. Because they're only offering 5, and you're not gonna just repeat,
Take them all.
take them all.
When you go online, I was new last year, when you go online, there'll be a button. When you get into it, it says new member.
Okay.
And they add it, and so there's an additional group of financial trainings that you need. So that's how
They even it out.
it comes out.
Okay.
But on the email that was sent to us that has the schedules for those classes, it does not reference that. So for you, you're gonna have to go to their site, which there'll be a link on the thing that April's sending you.
So there's 2 avenues. One of them is the schedule where you get onto a Zoom you can ask questions and there's interaction. The second is that there is an electronic where you go in and you listen to a video or you take it, it's like it's your own schedule.
Right, okay. So if I, decide I want to do a board training at 4 AM.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I do.
it's all-
2 AM, 3 AM, whenever yeah.
Well, no wonder you're repeating them.
Right, you don't even remember what you did.
No, I remember it now, because I've done them a few times.
Available.
Well, my clock is different.
Okay.
Because I get up at 4.
So come and count the members, you went on your phone, and you menu on your phone.
Okay.
I put my phone in the shoe bag when you came in the room, so I don't have it as a
So
distraction.
we're gonna go to 2, and so I'd like to get lunch with council members that are staying, and so if you look at your phone, there's a menu.
Lawrence, I'll need your signatures on the lease assistant.
Slow it up.
Okay, so there's burritos, gorditos, tacos.
So I've got somebody waiting over there to
Okay.
do the purchase. And she's on this route, and so if you put what you buy,
I'll put it in a tag.
it will route tags.
Okay.
Can I go ahead and end this?
Yes, please.
Bye.
Oh, we're
Adios.
just on